Hey, what's up, everybody? Matt Holmes here with BodySynergyTraining.com and BikiniBodyBeauty.com. I have another girl for you guys, as I've been promising we'll get more girls on here for everybody. And I got Jennie for I'm not even going to try and pronounce Jennie's last name because I know I totally screw it up, so I will let her do that. Talk about a bunch of stuff. Jennie's awesome. She's actually the nutritionist. She does my nutrition, a bunch of other clients of mine, and she also competes in strongman. So to me, she's kind of I describe her as a little badass since I'm kind of a foot taller than her. So that's kind of what she is to me. So thanks for taking the time today, Jennie.
No problem. Yes, my name is Jennie Cwikla, and I've been in the fitness industry for about 7 to 8 years now. I actually went to school for kinesiology right out of high school, and took a little break from that and got into some other types of work for a little bit, and then found myself back in to what I call was my fate from the start. So found my way back into the fitness industry. I was working under a master trainer who was responsible for a lot of the before and afters that you see on infomercial commercials late at night, that type of thing. So I worked under him for about a year and a half, and we prepared infomercial before and after photos for Mari Windsor, different blenders, different supplement companies. So I ran a lot of his programs and did all their nutrition and their training as well. So I did that for about a year and a half. Then I started my own boot camp. It was called Jennie's Rock Your Body Boot Camp. I did that for 3.5 years in a park outside. And then from there, by that time I was competing in a figure, a subcategory of women's bodybuilding. And I did that for a few years. And then I went on to traveling training, going to people's homes, trying to get better results from clients. And then from there, I started working in a gym and ended up opening my own gym. It was called Fit with Jennie. Had a business partner who was also named Jennie. And by that time, I was already competing in strength sports. I've been competing in strong women for 3 years, and I'm an international level strong woman competitor. Gone all the way to World's Strongest Woman, where I took 6th in the world. So I train a full range of fitness levels, all the way from the general weight loss client all the way to the strength competitor, triathletes, figure competitors. So I've been across the board, and I work with everyone across the board.
Perfect. Like I said, that was better than I would be able to do. I didn't know how in depth you wanted to go. So I think that's perfect, and it kind of opens up for the first, I guess, topic we could talk about with that too. Okay. Is I've talked about it before with other people, Gracie and other girls have been on. Being specific for you too, doing the strong woman stuff and at that high caliber, you're kind of a perfect poster to show girls that you can do strength training and not look like a man at the same time.
It's true. A lot of people say that I'm good for the sport because I make it look girly. The only thing I could say about that is that because I care about my aesthetics, I do my very best to watch what I'm eating and not fall into that excuse that a lot of girls do use, saying that, well, I'm a power lifter, so I don't have to. It's like an excuse. It's an excuse they use for not having to be on their diet and not having to watch what they eat. And I feel like the reality of your composition escapes you.
Yeah.
And you wake up one day and realize that you're overweight, and it's like, how did I get there? Well, and then another thing is, training with guys, the powerlifting and strongman is male dominant. So a lot of times when I train with a lot of guys and maybe one other girl, but they do the same thing, eat whatever I want to eat. I don't have to be skinny. I got to be big to lift heavy weight. So surrounding yourself with people who act like that makes it that much harder to go against the grain and to watch what you eat. And you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, and it's a perfect example, like I'm saying, to show girls that you actually can. Well, we both know that they should, not just doing a bunch of pink dumbbells and squats and things like that nonstop, thinking like, I want to look like this girl that's got look at her shoulders and her abs and look at the ass this girl has, and that's what I want to be. But they think they're going to get there a totally opposite way, and that if they actually do the right thing, they're going to be on the Miss Olympia stage the next year or something.
Right.
How did you switch then, going from being figure to strong woman?
So in the gym, I've always been naturally strong, and I trained with a team of girls. I trained with Team 619 Muscle. You probably see me wear a lot of their clothing because I'm still really close to that group of people, and I highly support them and love what they're building in the fitness community. But I was always a lot stronger than everyone I trained with. So doing things like shoulder presses where girls would be using 15-pound dumbbells, and I would be using like 25, 30-pound dumbbells just so I could be challenged. Like 15-pound dumbbells didn't do anything for me. And I never trained in strength either. It was all strictly bodybuilding stuff. So just being noticed in the gym, people would challenge me like, how far would you get if you actually trained for strength? Like, you're freakishly strong. So the group of people that I was hanging out with knew of this couple, Donnie and Kristen Rhodes. They live out here in Spring Valley here in San Diego, California. Donnie is a commissioner for Southern California Strongman. So anyone who wants to put on a strongman contest, if they want it to count towards nationals or anything like that, he has to be there to judge. So, and then Kristen, his wife, is World's Strongest Woman 2013, 6-time America's Strongest Woman, and she's a badass herself. So I ended up starting to train with them, and we train at our garage, the little garage. All their equipment is inside the garage or outside in the backyard. Atlas stones, yoke, you name it, they've got it. And I've been training under them for the entire time, and they coached me along the way, even though they don't write up my workout programs. We all have the same person program our training schedule, but whenever you want to be good at something, you have to surround yourself with people who are better than you. So that's exactly what I did. Was I trained with the best, and I adapted to their level.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it makes sense. You hear people say it all the time. You want to train with that, and it goes no matter what. If you want to, lose weight and tone up or whatever you want to call it, you got to train with someone that either knows how to do it and has done it with people, or someone that is doing the same thing and they've been in the same shoes as you. So it makes a lot of sense, where I hear a lot of people that they just want to, say girls specifically, or even guys, they just want to go into the gym and let me do what I found on the internet or read in some magazine, where it would be a lot
magazine, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a lot better to be with someone that knows what they're actually doing or has done it before. So
yeah,
I think that's a good. Let's kind of maybe dive into a little bit more on nutrition stuff. What are some of the common things that you see, let's say within women that want to lose weight or body fat, they want to, lean out? What are some of the common mistakes that you see them do?
I would say the number one mistake that I see girls do is putting themselves on like a 1,200 calorie diet. And the reason why that's not going to work after 2 or 3 weeks is because the body adapts to any environment you put it through. So if you put yourself on a 1,200 calorie diet, your body's going to down regulate and slow down so that you're not burning as many calories because you're not taking in as many calories. So that's probably the number one mistake I see girls do. They think less is best, and they put them on extreme low carb, low fat diet, and they either crash and they overeat because they've restricted themselves so hard, or they lose like 5-10 pounds in the first 2 weeks, and then they plateau, and then they're stuck there because they don't know where to go. They think that if they eat more, they're gonna gain weight, or maybe they do, eat more, a little bit more, and they do gain weight because the hormones are just there's right and wrong ways to diet, and that's definitely the wrong way to go into it.
Yeah,
it's right off the bat. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That kind of brings me to a question. I figured that's what you were gonna say, so I kind of asked it that way before I brought in something else. I was having a conversation with someone today, a girl that was doing some of my program stuff, and then she left to kind of do some other things. And she was, I asked her, like, what are you doing now? And I guess where she's from, the huge thing is, I pulled it up here. It was it's the V-Life drinks. Have you heard of those things?
No, I gotta keep up with all these fads.
I hadn't heard of it until she sent it to me, and she sent me the like nutrition label, and it's basically,
is it liquid only? Is it only shakes? What is it?
Yeah, it's basically like they eat 3 times a day, but 2 of those meals are shakes. And the shakes, this is the part where I was like,
are they high in sugar?
They are. No, they're low in sugar, but this is the funny thing, is it's only 12 grams of protein and 90 calories per shake. So I was like, that's only 24 grams of protein and 180 calories.
Yeah.
Just out of 3 meals. And I'm like, well, I asked her, I said, how are the results going? She's like, oh, I'm losing weight, which it's bound to happen. And I was trying not to be an asshole and explain this, because people get really touchy when you're like, okay,
yeah,
they think you're going to bash it. And I'm like, I'm not bashing or anything. You're losing weight, but give it another week or 2 and you're going to be like, why am I not seeing anymore? Because when you are eating here and you massively drop,
yes,
it's bound to happen. Your body's at a higher level, but you said, it's going to adapt. And when you're at that such of a low level, your body's going to go into that starvation mode, and it's going to slow down. And then you're already at such a low level where
do you go from there?
You're just going to not eat food.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then if you got to add back up, then they're like, well, now I'm gaining weight. Well, that's going to happen until your metabolism comes back up, and then you go from there. So I kind of wanted to bring that up and, see what you could expand on even a little bit further of what's a better way to do that.
Sure. So you and I kind of talked about this a couple of days ago, but there's three main ways that we can spike metabolism, and that's through increased water consumption, increased resistance training, and increased protein. Obviously, we want to increase our metabolism because it's going to help us burn more fat and burn more calories, and let us maintain a healthy body composition. So, just starting off, you need to be able to do all 3 of those things. So you want to start weight training, you want to increase your protein, and you want to increase your water throughout the day. I would say about at least 60 to 80 ounces a day if you're not heavily working out. But if you're training every single day, I would say a gallon of water day. My dog is barking in the background. Sorry about that. So when we're training and we're trying to tone and build muscle, those exercises are going to allow us to burn calories for up to 72 hours afterwards. If you're just on an elliptical or running, doing cardio like that, that's great for fat burning, but you're only going to burn fat and burn calories while you're doing that exercise. So with resistance training, it allows us, up to 3 days after our workout to burn massive amounts of calories. So in order to allow our body to do that, we have to feed it and fuel it to perform that type of activity. So increased protein is going to help us repair and replenish. and is really going to help you boost your metabolism. So I would say for someone starting off, if they want to start, cleaning up their diet, that they would start with a maintenance amount of calories and split it up equally into 5 to 6 meals per day. And you could do something as simple as looking up your BMR online. You could just search BMR calculator on Google and fill out all the questions, and it's going to give you a set amount of calories. So you would start there. And most people, this is how I start off all of our clients, is I start them off with a maintenance amount of calories, because most people aren't splitting up what they're eating properly throughout the day. They're having large dinner, they're having a large lunch, they're having no breakfast, they're eating cookies from the snack table at work, in the kitchen, or they're mindlessly snacking at their desk and picking off whatever food is at their desk and in the drawers and stuff like that. So just by cleaning up someone's diet and putting them on a maintenance level of calories from the start, I 80% of the time drop at least 5 pounds in the first week, just by eating clean on a maintenance level of calories, eating properly.
Perfect. I think that's good. And then kind of with that, a question that I get often asked is, what do you recommend as like the macro breakdown? How much like percentage roughly should there be proteins, and then carbs, and then fats?
So 20% fat, 40% carbs, and 40% protein.
Okay.
Is a pretty good macro breakdown ratios to start with.
Okay.
If someone's heavily doing weight training and really going at it in the gym, I usually like to put them on about 50% protein, and I'll go maybe somewhere into 30% carbs and 20% fat.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, that's a base kind of for everyone to start, and then we a little bit here and there and keep going.
Yeah.
So for people that also are doing fat loss, I talked a couple weeks about this with another buddy of mine, and we were kind of talking how when you kind of stall out, you don't have to make these crazy huge changes. It could be 50 calories of dropping X this here, and all of a sudden, another couple pounds comes off.
Yep. So with our clients, I either make an adjustment to their meal plan or their training program. I never do both in the same time, because just like you said, the body is super sensitive to these adjustments, and it'll stimulate loss again just from adjusting one or the other. So either increase your cardio time by 5 minutes every single day, or take out, cut your almonds in half at one of your snacks, something like that.
Okay.
Just as simple as that.
What's your take? Because there's always more than one way to get to where you want to go. As we know, there's so many different things out there. For a lot of the people that I've started, specifically like fat loss clients, it seems that more of a caveman paleo style, cutting out mainly a lot of the starches, because a lot of people eat way more starchy carbs than they should be anyways. And again, like you said, they're eating more carbs, less protein, and pretty moderately as far amount of fats. So that's kind of one of the first things I start is like drop all of that and up your protein and only eat fruits and vegetables. Kind of what's your take on some of that?
So I always tell everyone, all diets work as long as you stick to it, right? So first of all, consistency is key, and just trusting the process. That's probably the most important thing. As far as paleo and taking certain specific foods out of the program, I like paleo because it's not processed. So it's easier to digest and easier to break down, and the more efficient you are at digesting food, the better you are going to be at absorbing the nutrients from the food. So if there's all kinds of junk helping to preserve the type of food because it's so broken down already and processed, That's why they preserve. That's why they add preservatives in those types of foods, because they've been broken down and processed. They're not going to stay fresh as longer. So anyways, that's a little history on that. But those types of preservatives are going to inflame your body. And so when the body is in a state of inflammation, its focus is trying to lower that and bring it back to healthy levels. And it's not so focused on digesting the food. So, easier to digest, the better nutrient absorption, and, the less inflammation in the body, which makes everything more efficient.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, perfect. So what are kind of, I know we went over this, but I kind of want to hit it on a little bit more for people. Or what are some like go-to things they could start now, between now and next week, of start eating more of this or take this out or increase that, like a couple simple steps where they could do it, and that's all they could do, and then in a week they'll be like, wow, that actually, they could lose a few pounds just off of that.
Yeah, so I would think if I were to give like something simple that wasn't so, not so people don't have to overthink and counting calories and calculating macros and stuff like that, I would say focus on your portion sizes. So anything carb-based, like starch-based, such as pasta, rice, oats, things like that, rice cakes, granola. Keep your portions to between a quarter cup and a half cup. All carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram, right? So pasta, rice, they're all the same. So keep your carbohydrates between a quarter to a half cup. I would start with a half cup and then, work your way down to a quarter cup as you go. Proteins should be, I would say, at least 4 to 6 ounces. And then fats should be no more than a tablespoon. So olive oil, peanut butter, almond butter, avocado. A lot of people go overboard on the avocado because they're like, oh, it's healthy. But too much of anything is not healthy. So I would say just look at your portion sizes, have protein, fats, and carbs in every, and that will work. Perfect. For them for a while.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. And then I was going to ask you on that one, what are some of the, your favorite fat sources for people for, the monounsaturated fatty? So people I get that question, like, well, what's one of what, I'm like, because I'll see sometimes a breakdown, I'm like, we're having more of this, like, that's not a good spread of fats. You're eating all one kind of fat.
Yeah, so I love coconut oil. Coconut oil is one of my favorites. I love almonds. I like almonds versus almond butter because almond butter is so easy to go overboard on because people like it a lot. And if you're using a regular serving spoon as your tablespoon, I actually did a test on this. I had my sister blindly pull out what she thought was a tablespoon of peanut butter with a regular serving spoon, and I weighed it, and it was exactly double. It was 2 tablespoons, not 1.
Wow.
So I like to go by things that you can count, like almonds and nuts. You count them. That'll help you stay closer to your portion sizes. Let's see what else. I do like avocados. Avocados are great. What else? Sharp cheddar. Sharp cheddar is really good. It's high in protein, and it's most people like cheddar cheese too. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about cheese, what you suggested on, because I get that. They're like, well, what cheese is? I'm like, well, don't eat like blue cheese. Don't, there's better cheeses, because people are like, well, I thought I could have them. Well, you can't just have any of them. There's ones that are better.
Yeah. Starting out, I wouldn't, like I said, don't overthink it. Just have your categories correct, and go from there. So
break it down.
Fruits are carb. It's, so again, a half to quarter cup. Think of that. Think of your portion sizes of your fruit as well.
And that's why I was going to ask you that next on fruits, is because you hear a lot of people like, oh, well, I shouldn't eat fruits because it's high in sugar or this or that, and I'm like, I tell people, like, why? I can see, because I know there is an old like thing that's still there from past diets of like no fruits or you know, the client you and I are working with right now, I know she was doing one where it was like a detox and the only fruit she could have was an apple. It was the only fruit, no other fruits. And then I hear, you know, with bikini competitors like, oh, I totally cut all fruits out now because they're high in sugar. I'm like, to me, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why cut out all fruit?
So, well, with bikini competitors, once they're getting close to a show, the body is really sensitive to carbs and sugars. So, it's a little different with those types of people and those types of diets. But for the most part, you know, fruits are high in fiber and they're full of nutrients and help with digestion. So, I try to keep people away from bananas and pineapple as they're high glycemic, and so they digest faster. So you want to eat fruits that are higher in fiber and that help control and lower blood sugar. So that would be your apples and pears, and even an orange is good as well. So those are the fruits that I try to keep with. I don't really you know, go out into any of the other, like mangoes and grapes and things like that. I do stick with the apple and the pear type.
Okay. Yeah, and like you and I were talking about the other day with that, with like post-workout stuff on making one, you know, the pineapples and the kiwis and or I know figs come in falling.
Well, yeah. And again, you're a little bit different.
Yeah.
For a post-workout, that's a great smoothie. You actually want to you know, spike insulin at that time at post-workout.
Yeah.
For someone who's doing the type of training that you are.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, not just take those anytime, but it's kind of a good example to show people of like, they're like, oh, okay, fruits. So let me just eat fruit. Well, some fruits, you know, yeah, it's still in the fruit category, but especially if you're trying, like you said, a difference. If you're trying to lose weight and you really are trying to watch that insulin level,
right,
be careful of what fruits you are actually putting into your body.
Yeah, I had a client reach out to me from Belgium a couple of weeks ago, and he's diabetic. And he sends me his food logs, and it's like bananas and pineapple all over the place. And I'm like, didn't you go to any classes? You're breaking the rule.
That's funny. With the next category then on proteins, what are some of your favorite sources to get? Because, you know, obviously some things are high, like salmon's. We were talking, it's higher in fat, so you're getting both. But, you know, what are the ones that you recommend for specific, even more so someone that's wanting to lose fat and lose weight?
Yes. So I'm glad you mentioned salmon. I love salmon. Salmon's high in omegas, and those are important fats in so that you can release the unhealthy fat. What else? So I really like, you know, protein shakes because they allow people to get in more protein versus, you know, if they're not used to taking in so much protein, they can have a hard time digesting meat at every single meal 6 times a day. So if you can get in like turkey, chicken, egg whites are great. Making an omelet or even snacking on hard-boiled egg whites is a really good source of protein because it's easy to digest, easier on the stomach. What else? You know, steak is really good, you know, at nighttime before bed, help you replenish iron before the next day, you know, for heavy lifting. So like for you, you have steak in your meals for dinner. Because you do a lot of like Olympic lifting and powerlifting type stuff. So what else? I mentioned turkey, fish. So I love mahi. I like mackerel and cod. Those are all high in omegas as well, and that are good for you. Did I leave anything else out that you could think of?
No, I think those are pretty good. You know, I was gonna say like, yeah, sushi's good for you, but don't go because it's fish. But be careful, you know, of all the rice and all that other crap. You know, if you're gonna go, get the sashimi or take it off the rice.
Yes.
Unless you're me and I just eat everything that's in the sushi place.
And for those that are vegetarians, you know, quinoa is very high in protein and is a complete protein. One of the few foods that you can get all of your amino acids in. just like an egg is a complete protein as well. So
Okay. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I am the furthest person from any vegan, vegetarian. I turn people down that come to me and say, hey, well, do you have something that's vegetarian, for nutrition? I'm like, nothing that I do is. I'm against it. If you want to do it, I can give you the training programs, but the nutrition, I don't really, I was like, I don't know anything really about it. I don't do it. And actually, I had a girl, from when I first started doing the bikini body beauty stuff, she was coming to me and I was trying to help her out and this and that, but it was tough because she was like vegetarian, almost vegan. And now she came back a couple months ago and sent me a message which was like, oh, I'm doing so much better now. I'm actually eating meat and I'm eating fish now.
I've turned some over as well. Yeah, it's really hard with vegans and vegetarians. I feel like unless you are very vegans especially, it's difficult. I feel like their goals are not realistic. They want to follow this type of diet but look like this type of person, and that person didn't get that way from being a vegetarian or vegan. So I always make sure that their goals are realistic when working with someone like that.
Yeah, and I know some people will point out the exceptions that you see on people out there, because I know there were a lot of people. Jordan Yates back in the day was big on not eating meats, or other people, and it's like they try and compare themselves to that. Well, that was just a super freak. You can't, like,
exactly
percentage.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it was that easy, every single vegan person out there or vegetarian would look that way trying to do it.
Yep.
So it's good to kind of.
When that day happens, that'll be the day that I become the vegetarian.
I don't think I could ever do it. I like my steak and sushi and everything too much. But I've had some clients too that did. It was almost like we met in the middle. They didn't eat, and one of them I didn't give her a hard time because for some reason red meat or in any meat, even chicken, makes her not feel good. So she just does fish.
Yeah. So like, everybody is different and their food sensitivities are different. Now, notice I didn't say food allergies. Some people are just sensitive to different types of foods. Like the client that you and I are working with right now, she's sensitive to a lot of different foods. So we're having to work around those. But yeah, everyone's different. So you have to, that's why a customization and knowing your body is very important.
Yeah, and everybody, like I have, everybody I start them on, people that have done some more of the basic programs that I have. Here's a meal plan. Here's how you start. Here's an outline. It's more paleo caveman. Here you go. Great. And for most people, it gets them started because they're used to eating totally not the right way, I guess is the simplest way to put it. But if you want those insane results, you want to lose this mass amount, or you want to look like this person in that amount of time, you're going to have to get more personalized than just a base. Here's a base calorie. I found this online and they told me to eat this, this, and this.
Yeah, anytime you have a goal, something that you want to achieve, something great and big, you need to have an accountability buddy, whether that's your friend or a coach or, someone online, maybe in a Facebook group who's trying to reach the same goal as you. You need to have someone to hold you accountable and not veer off track.
Yeah.
A lot of times we're our own worst enemy. So we'll be dieting and then we're like, this isn't working for me. I'm not getting results fast enough. I'm gonna take out all my carbs and just do what I want. Well, you're gonna end up in the same boat. You're gonna end up plateauing, and that's why we have accountability buddies, so that we don't brainwash ourselves and throw ourselves off track. So you need someone who can see from the outside.
Yeah, like you said, brainwashing. You can totally get into your own head.
Yep.
One thing I just wrote that I think would be good to touch on real quick is the sneaking in calories without noticing it. Eating, how we talked the other day, grazing, or adding in, well, let me add in a little bit of this, or let me add in a little bit of that. Well, doesn't seem like a lot, but added up over 7 days or a whole 4-week period, that's a lot of extra calories.
Yeah, and what happens is it starts with one thing, and then it's another thing, and another thing, and you start doing it more often. And that's, again, having an accountability buddy, dialoguing your meals and what you're putting in your mouth. Anytime you put something in your mouth, you write it down. So you need to be more aware of what you're eating. So when you're snacking or adding in all these extra calories, so it's easy for us to forget. And we do it we do it without realizing that we're doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I think we kind of touched on a lot of really good stuff here. You know, we could go on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
It gets to be like, you know, the beating a dead horse. You can't. Start with the basics and then keep improving from there. And then that being said, for anybody that does want help, you know, start with this. Shoot a question to Jennie or I, because I'll post up, you know, all your stuff on here, and then Jennie and I are working together, doing a lot of stuff for my clients, things like that online. She does actually a lot online as well, so we can reach out and we can help you, but start with the basics and
definitely
individualize from there, and that's really see the results.
Yep.
So, okay, that being said, I'll post it up on here anyways, but, you know, whatever you want to plug, go ahead and plug for people to get a hold of you or anything like that.
Yep. Yeah. So anyone who has any questions or wants to reach out to me about, you know, any other type of, you know, dieting for strength or anything like that, you can reach me at Jennie Cwikla, Cwikla, online, or Valkyrie Athletics.
Perfect. That works. All right. And, you know, if we get some more questions, any questions that we have that I get, I'll shoot them over to you even too, and we'll post them up, and who knows, maybe we'll do another Q&A thing later. So
exactly. We'd love to do that.
All right. I appreciate you taking the time, Jennie. I hope everybody enjoyed this, and stay tuned for next week's feature. We've got a lot more awesome people coming to you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.